Word Business Practice is a production of Idea Capital Associates, expanding the topical issues of business, management, and governance from God's Word in order to propel positive actions for startups, growth, and sustainability in our marketplace. It is actually insights of the Spirit to explain physical things, mending the broken walls of business. Welcome to the Word Business Practice channel. This edition of Word Business Practice, we'll be looking at product pricing for startups and for existing companies to ensure their sustainability as those companies journey through business life cycle. This is descriptive product pricing in contemporary marketplace, backed by God's Word. Hop in and take a ride with me. The anchor word is Genesis 29, 15 to 30, New King James Version. Let's paraphrase the storyline. Laban was a rich man who engaged Jacob as an employee. Though Jacob was a relative in the transaction, Laban did not wish to treat Jacob as one, but rather pay an agreed wage to Jacob on arm's length basis. Jacob also didn't mind, but wished to be paid with Laban's daughter in exchange for time-basis service instead of physical monetary consideration. To Jacob, a 7-year time basis is an adequate price for Rachel. Rachel is symbolic representation of the product, and this is not in any way a denigration of our lovely, priceless female gender. But to Laban, even though Jacob's price for this product is adequate, the product trade secret is that the product cannot be sold alone. It had Leah, another back-end symbolic representation of a product, which must first be taken off the market before Rachel. It is like paying for an empty seat for a vehicle in a motor park by an urgent traveler for the vehicle to take off. What is price? Price is a quantifiable agreed value of consideration, mainly monetary or sometimes near money, that a buyer is willing to pay a seller for the seller's good or service at a particular point in time. Verse 15 of that chapter. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Price and decision. What determines the price? There is a general rule. Because of the forces of demand and supply, and these forces of demand and supply in most cases favorable to the buyer, the seller proposes the price for the good or service, while the buyer, with available information at his disposal, negotiates with the seller to his or her advantage. Price belongs to the seller, while that price turns to cost for the buyer. So the seller brings the price to the table, while the buyer sees it as cost and negotiates it. However, this was Jacob's first error in pricing as a buyer, because he proposed the price for the product. Verse 16. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Verse 18 said, Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you for 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. What are price elements? For continuous corporate growth and business sustainability, price is always made up of costs and profit. It is a channel of converting goods or services to a higher value higher than amount paid to create the goods or services in the first instance. The proposed price Jacob brought to the table was no doubt very favorable to Laban, so he consented without any negotiation. He knew the cost element of the product and the attributable profits from the price. Verse 19 said, and Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than I should give her to another man. Stay with me." So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. 7 years exactly as proposed by Jacob, uncontested by Laban. What are the few implications of error of pricing? Number 1, overpricing. Laban did not negotiate the proposed price but just consented. The Laban we knew would have disagreed if the consideration was not to his favor. The cost element of the product was far low to the price, making the transaction better for Laban. Verse 19 again, and Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me." But the question we should ask is, better for who? So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. He was truly in love. The second implication is demand pool inflation. Jacob's proposed price inflated the product price, and prices of other alternative similar products of the seller, in this case Laban, and other sellers in the markets. Laban hosted a feast for the men at the handing over of the overpriced product to Jacob. Verse 22, and Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. He conducted a party. This may no doubt consisted of potential father-in-laws that would also raise the price bar for their products, even though there were no associated incremental costs. Also, similar product of Laban, the seller, took a higher price value without any incremental cost. Leah, described as a product of comparably lower value, became overpriced and was pushed forcefully on Jacob at the prevailing price of Rachel, who was obviously already overpriced. Verse 23, now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this that you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served? In other words, that I paid you? Why then have you deceived me? And verse 26, Laban said, it must not be done so in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. There is a trade secret. Fulfill a week, I will give you this one also for the service, which you will serve with me still another 7 years. Jacob in real terms actually paid 14 years of service for Rachel instead of 7 years, which was already inflated, thereby resulting into avoidable double digits demand pool inflation for the products. Third implication is credit buying. The insistent demand for overpriced product without cash backings always leads to credit buying. Jacob still wanted Rachel at all costs and was ready to pay another 7 years. Rachel was handed to him on credit before serving the additional 7 years. Verse 30. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah. In other words, he took possession of the good. And he served with Laban still another 7 years. In other words, in order to own the good. Laban strategically locked in Jacob for the next 7 years by giving out to Rachel on credit to him. Also, we can conclude that the first 7 years had covered all associated costs of Leah and Rachel, and also left enough profits for Laban, such that the credit risk of the next 7 years was very low and insignificant. Conclusion. First, allow me to reiterate again that this edition is within the context of pricing and not in any way a denigration of our lovely and priceless female gender. Our women are not products, but they are our mothers, our lovely faithful wives, and our beautiful daughters who will connect us to the next generation of males and females. Being described as a symbolic representation of a product doesn't make them to be items wrapped in a bag and displayed on a shelf for sale. Secondly, this edition is a descriptive form of pricing towards making informed decision, but the choice of decision made was still yours. To the buyer, it is cost, but to the seller, it is price. On Word Business Pratix, we have both buyers and sellers. A prescriptive model of pricing was on the out. Sincere appreciation to all our subscribers to Word Business Pratix channel. And if you are yet to subscribe, kindly do so to this channel and click the notification button to get more at the instance of new production. And let's build a community together. Also like, comment, and share with your loved ones to spread these new narratives for status, for growth, and sustainability of existing companies. Thanks, and see you next time on the Word Business Pratix channel.